fun Halloween stuff planned for everybody tomorrow. So excited for that show. But it was a scary sight.
Yeah.
When De'Aaron Fox went down,
Sure
that's a good one. And from where we were sitting, I didn't know what happened. I thought it was his back because he went down pretty hard and then went up against
the stanchion or whatever.
The foam thing at the bottom of the basket. So I thought it was his back. He was down there for a long time. Probably felt a lot longer. You know what I mean? If you are a Kings fan. So we're glad that he did avoid serious injury, as was reported from Shams at the beginning of the show. So that was around 9:55, 10 a.m.
Yep.
And the question now is, how do the Kings kind of fight through? And if you were Coach Mike Brown, who would you start in his place?
I mean, I know we had the conversation about how Mike Brown seems to really love bringing Malik off the bench just because he's very comfortable in that role, but I would really consider it. I just think in general, he's been the Kings' main point guard, I guess you can call him this year. I mean, you look at the assist numbers heading into last night before they played. Malik was their leading assist guy. After last night, Malik is third on the team, still has over 5 assists per game. It feels to me like even if he's not quote unquote starting, he's going to be the primary facilitator with the ball in his hand. So I would guess Davion's going to start, and I would guess that they're probably going to start the game just with a lot of Sabonis having the ball in his hands a ton and just kind of having everything run through him like it kind of already does. And it'll just be interesting to see who kind of picks up the scoring load, or if Davion specifically can pick up the scoring load, because I mentioned he didn't score in the first 2 games. He was all right last night. I think he knocked down a triple, if I'm not mistaken. And it was just good to see him get involved in the offense. And I know Mike Brown in the pregame yesterday said he doesn't really think about Davion's offense really at all because the defense is what he's on the floor to do. But clearly and obviously, if De'Aaron Fox isn't out on the floor, you're going to need somebody or multiple people probably to step up the scoring load, especially when De'Aaron's putting up 37 and 39 in games. Like you're going to miss that scoring punch. So can Davion get in double digits, I think, is really the big thing to look at when De'Aaron's out.
Yeah, and look, we know it's kind of a positionless type deal, but I'm looking at honestly, and maybe I'm just going a little bit too early here with the Vezenkov situation. But when we're talking about scoring, that's somebody that pops into my head, not going to handle the ball and not going to create for other people. And Chris Duarte, kind of a weird game for him. 14 minutes, 4 points that I don't necessarily
remember any of them.
And 2 rebounds, still trying to find his way on this team. And again, not going to be the guy that would handle the ball like that. But when you're more so just talking, not necessarily the point guard responsibilities and those duties, but also just where's the scoring going to come from? I mean, Chris Duarte, we know he's better defensively than Kevin Huerter, but if Kevin Huerter can continue to just work his tail off as he has been, and if the shot does come back, I think all of our Chris Duarte conversations may or may not have been a bit premature. But you know, it really just matters. Kevin Huerter, I mean, he played better, but we can't sit here and act like he set the world on fire.
No, he's not back.
I wouldn't say that either.
He's no longer in the hole anymore. You know, you're not looking at him at the bottom of the well being like, can we get Kevin out of there, please?
Are you okay?
Yeah, he's at least above water now, and he's able to breathe a little. But no, I wouldn't say that Kevin Huerter is in a place right here, right now, where I would say, like, we need Kevin to step up to 20 points per game right now with De'Aaron out. I would love that to be the case if he were, shooting as well as he did to start the last season, but he's not. He's nowhere near that, and I think it would be unrealistic to expect that from him. So, frankly, I mean, if you're looking for anyone to step up the scoring load in a major way, I would like to see Keegan, like we played that sound earlier of Mike Brown saying he wants Keegan to take any and every open shot. I would like to see Keegan really take another level in terms of his aggressiveness, looking for that shot. And also Domantas Sabonis, like I would love to see a 25-point performance from Domas with De'Aaron out, because just in general, he's going to have to be a lot more aggressive. He's going to have to be the Kings' best player if the Kings are going to survive without De'Aaron Fox, even if it only is for 3 games. Domas has to be the best player on the Kings.
Yeah.
or most important, I should
Yes.
say. Not necessarily best in terms of scoring, but
Right.
For the most part, he's got to look clear and obvious, like the team is surrounding by him, around him.
And we keep talking about him as well. A name that continues to come up, and that's HB. That's Harrison Barnes.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
he's a guy who he gets his opportunities. It's weird because I don't necessarily mind Harrison Barnes taking 3-pointers because he can definitely hit that. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes his shot selection, you know, he's almost as if he's, for lack of a better term, like that person that's shy.
Yes.
But then, at some random time, they decide they're going to blurt something out and like try to have a conversation thinking, I didn't really, what? Like, I didn't even understand that. Sometimes Harrison will just randomly take a 3 at the top of the shot clock. And you're thinking, really? That's the one that you were feeling?
That's the one that you've been waiting for this whole time?
Yeah.
And sometimes he'll pass up open threes and then drive to the lane, which, you know, I understand you got to diversify it a little bit, but it is, again, Mike Brown wants his guys taking the open look when they got it. So, I would love to see Harrison step it up. It's just, frankly, at this point, for how long we've had Harrison Barnes on this team, I just kind of, I don't mean it to sound rude if it comes off that way, but I know what to expect from him. And I just can't realistically bring myself to expect him to step up the scoring load just because the Kings have a clear and obvious need for it.
Right. And we're not asking you to drop the 33.
No, he doesn't need to.
But you got to get up
17.
Yes, if we can get you to 17, you know, we're in a good spot. 8 points with no De'Aaron, that's a rough go.
It is. Yeah, it definitely is. And I know he's guarding LeBron for a good portion of that game. And, you know, he's being asked to do things that a lot of guys aren't being asked to do. But, you know, Harrison is still he's still somebody who's again, my biggest problem with him is that he can do a little bit of everything. And too many times you end up with a whole lot of nothing. Like, it's just he ends up just not really ever imprinting himself onto a game. And I would love to see it happen, but I can't bank that into what I expect to see from them.
Well, it actually would be a perfect opportunity to play. How many minutes did he play?
Yeah, it really would.
Unless you saw already.
I don't know. I have no idea how many minutes he played last night. I would say just because it was a double overtime or an overtime game, I would say he played 32 minutes, I guess.
He played 39 minutes.
Which had to be the most on the team.
It was the most on the team.
Played 39 minutes.
8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists.
Oh boy. I mean, yeah, it's like that's the problem more times than not. Is like, I mean, and that the fact that he's playing 40 minutes though, that does tell me he's not out there doing nothing. Like, while the stats, you know, you look at the box score and it might say, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. 1 foul isn't great. I would have liked to see him, you know, especially on a night where everybody's fouling.
Just
I would have liked, you know, get in there, take some fouls for some other guys and really be aggressive on the defensive end of things. But I mean, the fact that Mike Brown's playing him 40 minutes, I don't think Mike Brown would play him if he was literally doing nothing.
No,
but
that's a great call.
I think he should step up the aggressiveness.
And he's probably the best all-around defender on the team.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I would say obviously Davion is in lockdown for the guards, but the all-around defender. So you got to have him out there, and obviously just the leadership and keeping.
They don't have anyone else like him either.
No,
like they don't have anyone who's as physical as he is, and you know, has just been around the block as well. Like, he's 30 years old, right in the middle of his prime.
Getting to a break. When we get back, we are talking about overhyped prospects and who fulfilled their potential and who didn't. Line yours up as well. Anybody that you thought was going to be that guy at any level or that person at any level, let us know. Styles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.